Welcome everyone to our next episode of Secrets of Trading, the first one of 2022. So we're both excited.
Oh yeah, hope everyone's doing well.
The last couple of Secrets of Trading episodes, you guys have seen us do some interviews with, other traders or even entrepreneurs, people in a lot of different industries. We had someone from real estate. We have people who are traders in general, other mentors coming on, people from our own mentorship groups who you guys can relate with as well, because they have been in the same exact shoes or are currently in the same exact shoes, and they're kind of building themselves up. So what we want to do in this video to start the year off is actually help you guys kind of set goals for the rest of the year and how to achieve them. So these are things that we have been doing for the past couple of years that have definitely helped us. And we break them down into smaller goals, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. And the reason why is because a lot of you guys have reached out to both of us, and you guys usually have the same exact, question, a different variation of it, maybe of, hey, how do I achieve this goal? How do I achieve that goal? I want to lose weight fitness wise, or I'm tired of my job and I'm usually just living towards the weekend for the weekend. And so we're going to help you guys kind of get out of that mundane state of mind and kind of move into how do you actually progress and how do you guys actually set goals for yourselves.
Absolutely. I think this is a huge thing when it comes to most people, right? Most people see that new year as like a completely new switch, something that they can, basically turn into a different person, turn into that alter ego. And unfortunately, it starts off pretty well. And you see it with the gym, where people go to the gym and, you guys all know exactly what we're talking about, where everyone's got their New Year's resolution and then all of a sudden it just tanks after maybe 5 to 7 days on average. But like Sharma said, we're just going to put together a little plan for you, some questions that you can ask yourself when it comes to getting yourself ready for the year and setting yourself some goals that you can be accomplishing by the month, by the week, by the quarter, and by the year. So looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go like both of our approaches then, the approach that I kind of take and the approach that Stefano takes, mix and match it. You don't have to follow exactly what each of us do. If it's not something that works for you, play around with it, right? Some of you guys, you will be able to do exactly what we do, and it's going to give you results. Some of you guys may think, it's too much, it's too extreme, it's just too much going on at once. What I want to start off with here is what not to do. Right. And I think that's going to be a lot easier. So what some of the things that a lot of people do every year, coming in with the new me, new year kind of a thing, is a lot of people like to go head on with things that they've never done before, things that they've never prepared for before. Right. And in certain aspects, that could be a good thing. But when it comes down to, let's say, for example, the gym, right? So that's something a lot of people like to, start off every new year going to the gym, which is a good thing. But don't start taking on challenges that you've never prepared for before, right? So 75 hard challenge that a lot of people know about, and we have talked about in our videos previously, that's something a lot of people like to take on, right? Recently, like a lot of people have heard about it and everything, but 75 hard requires a lot more from you rather just than physical fitness, right? Or physically working out. It's mental toughness challenge. It's going to challenge you in every aspect of your life. And so that's what a lot of people don't understand. So I'm not really sure, what are the different expectations that they go in with. But some of the things that you don't want to do is go head on with the challenge that you've never prepared for. Start off in the first 6 months. If you've never worked out before, if you're just starting off a business, you're just starting to get control of your financial situation, whatever it is, the first 6 months should always be about building that discipline. And then you take that to the next level, right? So what I kind of like to do is, and this has been introduced to me by like several other people, it's called a wheel of life, right? And so there's a lot of different aspects to it. So there's the first one is going to be the physical. That's quite easy, right? This is where you talk about, I want to lose X amount of weight, or I want to hit the gym 5 to 6 times a week. I want to, become a little bit more lean, bulking, whatever it is. It's a lot easier to look at your physical goals. You're looking at yourself in the mirror every single day, or I hope so. And then you're able to tell like, okay, am I really happy with myself? And if you're not happy with yourself, then what do you need to do in order to change that? Going to the gym, quite easy, but with the gym, you need to be able to focus on your diet as well, right? You need to be able to focus on your routine. You need to be able to focus on having a specific amount of intake of water, having enough sleep, all that type of stuff. It's going to affect your physical health. And I'll show you guys exactly how I do all this too, as well. So there's physical, and then you have your mental, of course. This is what a lot of people talk about. Trading is all about your mentality. It's all like a mental game, having that mental strength. And so this is going to be very, very important, regardless of whether you're in the gym, whether you're trading, whether you have a business, whether you have a job, whatever else that you're doing. I think your mental health is very, very important. And for that, what I mean is if you're mentally, if all you're doing is you're living for the weekend, you don't have a strong mental health. If all you're doing is probably partying all day, you probably don't have a strong mental health, right? And so you need to be able to develop that. You need to be able to incorporate some personal growth, personal development time in order to help your mindset. Even in the gym, when you're pushing for PRs, your mental health, that's the thing that's kind of stopping you, right? Where you think like, I can't really lift this, or before you even lift it, you've kind of just given up. That's all because of your mental health or your mentality, your mindset growth. You guys need to also work on that. A lot of people don't talk about mental health as much when it comes to every other aspect of your life. And then the second thing is going to be financial, of course. A lot of you guys get into trading because you're not happy with where you are financially, right? A lot of you guys got into trading during the pandemic because you weren't happy where you were financially. So what is your financial health like at the moment, and what can you do to fix it? Yeah, you have a job, but I'm going to be realistic with you. Just having one job is not going to help you build that generational wealth. You need to have side hustles. You need to have other things that are making you money. You need to have investments and all that type of stuff. So we're going to get into that as well. But another thing is financial. Then you have personal. So this is all about you. What are your personal goals, right? So you could have physical goals, you could have mental goals, like this where I want to be mentally. I want to be so mentally strong that I could get into like any, let's say, trading position and not have to worry about closing half. Or if I'm like 8 pips in profits, but I have PTSD because usually I've seen trade go the other way. I just close out the 8 pips and I see the trade take off in my direction, and then you guys are just kicking yourselves. So those are all different aspects that you can't think about when you're looking at this wheel of life here. And then if you have a business or you want to start a business, then that's another aspect. So what does that look like for you at the moment? What's your business like? Are you just starting off, and where do you envision yourself? And be very, very realistic, brutally honest with yourself in every single one of these points here. So where are you right now, and then where do you want to be next? The next thing is going to be family, and then you also have friends. So, and then if you guys are into like spiritual stuff, then you can do that as well. So there's all these different aspects of life. This is all like a big wheel. I just have it listed out. So the way that I like to do it is I'll do like a T chart for all of them, right? So then I have a T chart for physical, and I'll give you guys this one example, and then you can go ahead and incorporate the same exact thing to every other thing. I don't want to do like a 2-hour long video here, right? So, and then, so pretty much what you do here is you're going to write down a T chart like this. And then on one side, you write down exactly how do you feel right now. Let's say physically at the moment, my goals are, I'm looking towards May. That's my big test that I'm working towards. So I have a trainer that I'm currently working with. I have my karate instructor. He's my trainer. He's helping me out with my diet. He's keeping me accountable, all that type of stuff, right? So I have a trainer who's helping me achieve these goals. And I let him know, even right now, we just had a call last night where I let him know, like, hey, these are some of my goals for the test. What am I trying to work towards? So having a lean body, and then also having great endurance, having a great strength, and being able to, stand into a sparring match for about 10-15 minutes. The sparring matches are only about 3 to 5 minutes, but I want to be able to work up so I can spar for about 10-15 minutes without gassing out whatsoever. Right? So those kind of things. So what are some of your physical right now? What's your physical state right now? Obviously I can't spar for 10-15 minutes straight, and I'm talking about like full speed. So none of those like I hit, pull back, and I'm like kind of resting or whatever, and then I go back in. I'm talking about like consecutive hits back to back, like full on mode sparring is what I'm talking about. So that type of stuff, right? Write that down. And then also No one's gonna look at this. Honestly, you could write down any numbers that you want as well, which is weight. Be brutally honest. How much do you weigh right now, and how much do you want to weigh in the next, let's say, 6 months or by the end of the year? Like, how much pounds do you want to lose? And then also body fat, BMI, whatever it is. Write all that type of stuff down. Right. Same thing for everything else. Your mental health. Do like a T chart. What if you're not happy with whatever is happening here? Write the very opposite of that on the other side. Right? So here, if I write down right now, let's say I'm able to spar for 5 minutes instead of those 10 to 15. And this is just an example, right? So if I'm only able to spar for, let's say, 5 minutes instead of those 10 to 15 minutes, then I'm going to write down on the other side, spar for 10 to 15 minutes. This is just the goal that I have until May. And then after that, it increases, right? I want to be able to spar for even longer. And then this is my goal for the physical aspect, and then I'm going to break that down into my weekly goals, my daily goals, what are my workouts going to look like, what is my diet going to look like, and all that type of stuff. And then you have your personal goals. So on the personal side, I want to be able to have a mindset growth, so all that type of stuff. Read however many books that you want to read that year. So for me personally, this year I have a goal of about 36 books that I want to be able to read, right? So that's a book almost every week. And then there's 52 weeks, and so a week and a half. And then whatever your other personal goals may be, financial goals, same exact thing. Right now, if you don't even have 5K saved up, and that's a lot of Americans who don't, then that's probably a goal that you should be having, saving up 5K in emergency funds. And that just means that money that you're not touching at all. And then you're using everything, all the other money to invest or save or, spend whatever you want to do. But having 5K at least in emergency funds, you guys would be surprised. A lot of people won't be able to afford $100 expense that they didn't see coming. And that's very sad, right? Yeah. So that's something that you guys should be able to work towards, saving up to 5K in finances.
Saving on 5K, it's only like 14, 15 bucks a day putting away. Maybe around 13 bucks, I would say. 13 bucks a day. If you could put away 13 bucks automatically every single day into an account, you'll have 5,000 bucks at the end of the year. About 27, 28 bucks if you wanted to do 10K.
Yeah. And one of the things is a lot of people, they will say like, well, I don't have $14, $15. It's not about whether you have $14, $15. It's about how do I get $14, $15?
Can you find it?
Right. And that's what kind of gets your brain thinking, because is it through a job or is it through a side hustle? Is it through investments? Right. If you can start thinking about how do I get that instead of saying like I can't afford it, but you start thinking about how can I afford it, that's going to be a huge mental change for you guys. Yeah. Right. So that's something that you guys want to start thinking about.
A lot of you guys are traders too, so you already have your side hustle. So the question is like, again, how do I find that money if I'm not profitable yet? You go and find it as far as your spending habits. Right? You start cutting down on your spending habits. Maybe you buy a coffee every day from Starbucks. That's $5 right there. You could be automatically putting into an account. Maybe you get some fast food every single day along with that coffee. So that's around 14, 15 bucks altogether for the day that you could be sacrificing that and putting that into an account.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it starts off like that, right? So another thing that you guys were going to see, and there's a lot of conflicting views on this as well, is you're going to see something like, instead of spending money on fast food, then go get like groceries or something like that. And then an opposing view is like, well, instead of thinking about like, well, I can't afford this, why don't you actually go out and make more money so you can afford it? But the first stage is obviously saving it. You can't afford it. So that doesn't mean that, just because today I think, oh, I can't afford, like, let's say a Happy Meal or whatever from McDonald's, then I'm going to go ahead and find another side hustle. That side hustle is not going to work right off the bat in just a couple of hours. It doesn't work like that. You need to be able to grow it. So obviously learn to save and then save to invest, right? And then whatever money that you get from investments, that's what you should be using to fund your lifestyle. So make a T chart for all of these things, right? Where are you at the moment? And on the other side of it, on the left side of it, write down where do you want to be in the next year, and then break that down into smaller goals, right? You need to be able to attach emotions. You need to be able to attach like some sort of visualization of already visualizing yourself being able to spar 10 to 15 minutes. And what does that look like? Unless you guys attach the actual emotions to it and you're able to visualize yourself, it's not going to happen, because it's very easy to just say, I want to be able to spar for 10 to 15 minutes. But if you don't understand like how does that feel? If you're not able to visualize yourself how to do it, you're not going to do it. So that's just a very quick one, and then we'll kind of come back to it. So I'm going to let you, Stefanos, kind of break down how do you do it. So this is the every aspect of my life that I do this T-chart for, and then I'll have the yearly goals and break down into quarterly goals. I'll go ahead and let you take over.
Yeah, Sharma, I love this. I think that, first of all, it's perfect to partner this up with what I'm doing. Like, if you guys were to take both approaches, you could easily do it. You know, we're not contradicting each other at all. Like, you should be doing both of these two different things. So one thing I like to do when I'm reflecting, and also, like, I also wanted to touch on one thing you said in the beginning there, as far as like setting big goals in the beginning, stuff like that. You don't want people to do that. I kind of lean a different way when it comes to that. I do agree with that because most people can't do this, but I also don't want to be projecting limiting beliefs on people, because I know me personally, when I first started the 75 hard last year, what I did was I saw a post of somebody doing it, and they failed once and then they were able to do it after that. I saw that post and I immediately listened to the podcast. I told myself I am not going to have to restart once, and I did it. And that's a big drastic change when it comes to doing something like the 75 hard. That's something we could get into. If you guys want to ask us about that, we could definitely fill you in about it. But don't think that because most people can't drastically change their life, that you can't do it either. Because you could easily, it all just comes down to the decisions that you're making every single day, and cutting out the things that you no longer accept from yourself, and just amplifying the things that you do accept from yourself, and constantly building on that. But like
the key thing there was your mentality too, right? Where you saw the post and your mentality was that I'm not going to have to restart it. And so every day when you were going through that entire 75-day hard, that's probably what was in the back of your mind, being able to, the fact that you still remember the post, right? And still thinking about, I'm not going to have to restart it. And so that's what kind of pushes you. So if you're not already mentally strong like that, where you make a decision and somebody else or some other event comes and influences you very easily, then that's something that you need to work on before you're able to jump into things like this. But if you're someone who's like very strong-headed and nobody can really influence you, maybe jumping into 75 hard, maybe the event that kind of changes your life.
Yeah, that's the one thing, because I do think 75 hard for certain people would be amazing just to start out the year, and all of a sudden, because the whole 75 hard goes throughout the entire year. And there's actually one phase, the main phase, 75 hard, then there's phase 2, where you give yourself a couple of days and then you get right into that. I think you give yourself like 3 days and then you get right into the second phase of it. And then the next phase, I forget what is added to that phase, to be honest with you, but the phase after that, you have to wait 30 days before you start the next phase. And why do you do that? It's because you need to be able to feel your body where you're in this routine, doing the same things every single day. All of a sudden you just stop. And now it's very easy to completely get off that train. And now after 30 days, you got to teach yourself how to get right back on the train and get right back into the routine. So I think that's a great exercise. I think some people watching this are going to easily be able to, not easily, but simply be able to implement this into their life and try the 75 hard today. And I think some people, you need to slowly get into some things. But again, it all comes down to the decisions that you make and what you no longer accept from yourself. And anything that you can't stand anymore that you're doing, you need to be able to cut that out, and you need to be able to make that decision. Is it very hard? Absolutely. And again, I was saying 5 to 7 days before. 5 to 7 days is normally where it gets really hard, right? After that, and then with the 75 hard specifically, after 2 or 3 weeks, that's where it starts to get a lot easier, especially with like the socially drinking. I barely drink. I drink maybe once every 2 weeks. It got a lot easier after, a couple of weeks of not doing it and going out and seeing people, not drinking, them drinking. It gets a lot easier, but it's always a lot harder in the beginning. But when it comes to yearly planning, I think Sharma did a great job with the T-chart. I think that's awesome. All of those phases are super important in all of our lives. So if you can implement that and then start doing this is going to really give you a good course and put you on a good course for the year. So the first question that you want to ask yourself, when you're starting your year is you want to start out positive, because us as entrepreneurs, we're all so hard on ourselves. We're always looking at the things that we, the things that we didn't do, the things we didn't accomplish, all the challenges that we weren't able to make. We're very hard on ourselves, and it's good to be like that, because you're never going to get anywhere if you're not like that. But you also need to be easy on yourself in some different aspects too. So the first question that you want to ask yourself right here is, what are all the good things that happened this year, back in 2021?
I think another thing that you said earlier, just to touch on that, you said like if you're really tired of certain things that you do and being able to change that, and that's where the drastic change comes in, is you guys need to be able to set non-negotiables for yourself. What is something that you're absolutely not going to allow yourself to do, or allow yourself to endure or tolerate, or any of those things? I'm not going to tolerate myself giving myself anything less than 100% every single day.
Mhm.
Right. So even if like I was sick last week, even then being on the Zoom calls, even if it was just 30 minutes, 15 minutes with people and being able to help them out, I wasn't going to let that one thing kind of excuse me from continuing my daily actions or being able to accomplish my goals.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, right? If I'm going to give myself like enough rest or whatever it is, but Stephanos knows, like, I wasn't able to talk. My throat was hurting like really bad.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't able to talk at all. And I was like constantly coughing and all that type of stuff. But that's something that I can't control. But what's something that I can't control? What are some other things that I can do that doesn't require me to talk? Right? Emailing people, texting people, making sure everything's in a line. Those are some things that I had set for myself. Giving myself anything less than 100% every single day is non-negotiable. That's not
Mhm.
something I'm going to take.
And another way of saying non-negotiable is a standard that you want to build for yourself, which is amazing. That's something that you need to start the year off doing. You need to write down all your standards. Like, what do you accept of yourself? What don't you accept from yourself? So that's a big step right in the beginning. But again, what are all the good things that you accept from that happened this year? Any kind of milestone? How did you do with your training? Did you form any great relationships this year? What kind of money did you make this year? Did you open a business this year? Like, all those things, like, write all that down, every little good thing, and go by the month. Go back into your pictures on your phone and just look through the pictures. It'll give you a nice little timeline of how the year went, and you're gonna start to see, oh wow, I did that. We accomplished that this year. That's awesome, right? Like, how do I build on that for this year? So the second question that you want to ask yourself is obviously the one that we all like to ask ourselves is, what are the challenges? What are the hard parts? So obviously, you guys as traders, first year traders, second year traders, you guys are still struggling. Obviously, you've had a lot of challenges this year looking at the markets and trying to, be in the markets. And a lot of you guys, I'm sure most of you guys that are watching this right now, a lot of you guys are the break-even traders, the traders that really care about what they're doing, because a lot of the ones that really don't care, the ones that are just trying to make money real quick, they probably turn this video on and turn it off within 5 minutes because we didn't give them a signal. So
Yeah.
you guys that are really dedicated to what you're doing and really trying to figure out what you're doing, you're probably break even. And there's only a couple things that we need to change with your trading, or you need to change with your trading. And it's all up to you. 100%. It's not the market's fault, not your mentor. It's not anybody else but you. Right. So what are the challenges that you had this past year? You need to journal all this stuff too. A third question for you is, what did you learn? Again, I know it's very easy to just kind of watch this video, kind of just just go through the video, think about it in your head, and then move on to a next video on YouTube, right? Very easy to do that. I promise you, the more you write this stuff down and the more you look at it on a daily basis, the better your 2022 is going to go.
Yep.
Right? It's not really rocket science. So make sure that you're writing all this stuff down. It's going to help you a lot. 4, what's your plan for the upcoming year?
See the difference between the challenges and what did you learn, for a lot of people who may be confused looking at that.
Yeah, so what are the challenges? It's the physical challenge. It's what you actually went through when it comes to any kind of challenge that you went through, whether it's trading. Again, you went through a breakup. What'd you learn from that? Right? These are two different things. This is the physical thing that actually happened. And then what'd you learn from it? 3 should be much longer than 2. So again, moving into 4, what's your plan for the year? What's your goals? What are you trying to accomplish this year? And how are you going to accomplish it? Right? Super important. all these questions.
And be very, very detailed about what is your plan for the upcoming year, right? So you could very easily just write down, making an X amount of money, but you want to be very detailed with your entire plan. What do you envision yourself being like by the end of the year?
Absolutely. So every area of your life, whether it's health, focus, relationships, mindset, emotions, fitness, spiritual life, financial life, whatever it is, these are all different areas that you're going to be focusing on this year. But what are the three most important areas that you really want to focus? Like, what's the theme of 2022, right? Whether it's trading, whether it's business, whether it's money, what is it? Relationships, your discipline. What do you really want to focus on for this year specifically? So that's what number 5 is.
Now we're giving you guys a step by step, right? So all you have to really do is answer these questions, and that's
Plug and play.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
For number 6, what are the goals I'm setting for each one of these? So what are the goals you're setting for each of these areas, right? What are the goals you're setting for focus? How are you going to get more focused on the task at hand on a daily basis, right? What are the goals for your fitness? What do you want your bench to get to? What do you want your mile to get to? What do you want your squat to get to? Stuff like that. Like, there needs to be numbers associated with like quantitative numbers that you can plug in for any kind of goal that you're trying to accomplish. Makes it much easier to accomplish them, makes it much easier to chase as well.
Another thing that I've personally learned over the years, and after even talking to a lot of other successful people, like things that I have seen in common, is that the most important thing is being able to envision yourself in that position. So a lot of people, when you think about success, they try to associate some sort of like a monetary value to it, right? I'm going to be honest with you, success is not just all the money that you make. You can make all the money in the world and still be a very shitty person. And you're not really successful because nobody really wants to be around you, right? Nobody really looks up to you besides the money that you're making. For some of you guys, like that may be the goal, right? Making a ton of money, sure. But you want to be able to be an all-rounded person. So then envision yourself, what kind of person are you after you make, X amount of money, right? And that's what the success is going to look like. So don't look up to other people. That's something that I've learned. Don't look up to other people. Don't look up to, I want to be like Stephanos. I want to be like Sharma. I want to be like, whoever else. But look up to what does, let's say Bob, for example, what does Bob in a year look like? What does a successful Bob look like? How does he behave? What is the type of things that he does? How does he think? How does he treat other people? And then what is his experience every time someone comes and meets him, or what's the other person's experience every time they come and meet Bob, right? Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that every interaction that you're having this year is very, very intentional. Don't do something just to do it. Do it with intention.
Yeah, it's great point. If you also want to see what Sharma was kind of talking about, watch Matthew McConaughey's 2014 Academy Award acceptance speech, where he's talking about being his own hero and always chasing himself 10 years down the road. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I didn't understand this at first until I think it was like a year or two later that I really listened to it, and it just clicked for me. I'm always chasing myself, always trying to be better than I was yesterday. And you're also trying to outbeat yourself tomorrow, right? Because the tomorrow self is trying to beat you today. So it's a constant battle. You don't care what other people are doing. You only care about yourself and what you are getting accomplished and stuff like that. So yeah, what is getting in the way of you achieving your goals? So what are you doing? Basically, what did you do all 2021, right? What did you do all 2021 where you didn't accomplish your goals? What was holding you back? Was it social media? Was it distractions? Was it confidence? Was it people in your family telling you that you're not worth it, or anything? Friends, your people you think that you're friends, right? There's many different things that could be getting in the way, and you need to be brutally honest with yourself about all the answers to these questions, right? Because these questions, each one of them individually, mean a lot, and if you can write an in-depth answer for each one of these and really just sit down for like a half an hour just writing this down, thinking about it, it's going to do you a lot of good. And you can print it, laminate it, do whatever you want, and look at it every single day, because you guys are going to, you're all high right now, right? But after a month, I think Sharma said it, or we were talking privately, but after a month, you guys are going to get really close to what your old self was, unless you take it upon yourself. Like I did with the 75 hard, I did not want to have to restart that at all. It wasn't because I didn't want to do the work. It was just because I told myself I was going to do it and I did it. So same thing with this.
Yeah, so this is like a quick little challenge that we're putting for you guys. This is the goals that you should be trying to achieve for 2022. And then how do you break that down into like quarterly goals or even weekly goals?
Yeah.
But this is a good challenge that we're putting out for you guys. So what I want to do is whoever's watching this, I'm going to prompt you guys to write down, so you don't have to write down all 7, but if you do write down all 7, like, props to you, we would love to see that. But I want you guys to write down in the comments, if you can, at least like, there's 7 things here, so at least 3 things, right? So it could be, what are all the good things that happened to you in 2021? And then it could be, what are the challenges over in 2021 that you faced, and what did you learn? It could be that, mix and match it, whatever it is. But I want to prompt you guys to take this challenge and kind of share that with us, because honestly, you never know who you're going to be motivating. There's a lot of people, when you share a comment, or you write down a comment or whatever it is, there are other people who are watching this video, they're going to see that comment and they're going to be motivated to do the same exact thing, right? So if we're not motivating enough, and you guys who are watching this, trust me, you are going to motivate other people who may be in the same exact shoes to go ahead and take this challenge and actually change their life. You never know whose life you're going to change.
Amen.
So now that's your yearly goal, right? So now you're going to break this down into your quarterly goal. So I'm just going to go ahead and add on to the bottom or something here, Stefan.
And I think this is what you're touching on. I'm not 100% sure, but you guys can ask yourselves these questions every single week and every single month, every single quarter as well. It doesn't have to be every year.
Yep. So I do this personally. I have like all my goals written down for the year. It's in my journal. I like to actually write it down. So in 2022, I said year up, and then I wrote down about 12 of my goals, right? So these are my goals for my businesses, all my different businesses, my physical, and then my personal goals, all that type of stuff. And then also for my education wise, so it doesn't have to be just an actual degree or certificate or anything like that, but I'm talking about like personal growth, right? Reading books, what are some things I want to learn, what are some things I want to get into. So obviously NFT is a super hype right now, right? So that's not something that I want to go ahead and invest into right now, but what are the potentials that I can see coming into play and all that type of stuff. So that's something I want to kind of educate myself on a little bit more. And so that's something that I'm trying to read into, right? So these are some of my goals. So I have all of that written down for year of 2022, all of that right here. And then I have something that I learned last year. And this is from one of the professors I'm working with on a startup for my university. He says this a lot and I really like it, but it didn't click for me either in the first couple of months I was working with him. But then I started to realize this over time as I met more people, and a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. He says that money is cheap and character is expensive. So it's very easy to make money, but it comes right back to what we were talking about earlier. If you're a shitty person, nobody wants to be around you, your character sucks, no one really cares about your money, dude, right? People want to be, if you're someone who's trying to make a change in someone's life or something like that, yeah, obviously having that money is a good thing, but character is expensive. Work on building your character. And then I have that broken down into my quarter 1 2022, and I have it named like game plan. So then from January to March, what are some things that I need to do in order to accomplish whatever I have 1 through 7 here, or if you're doing the wheel of life, any of that. So the very first thing for every single one of these is a why, right? So that's what I'm going to answer for myself. What's the why here? And then what does it feel like? Every time I achieve one of these goals, what am I expecting it to feel like? What does it feel like? So I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'm going to go ahead and move that down here. Right, so what does that feel like? And so now all of this is going to break down into, let's say, quarterly goals, and then weekly goals and daily goals. So I'm going to start off with the physical because that's the easiest, I feel like, for a lot of people to understand, right? So for my physical, at the moment, what I have is, I'm going to open up my journal real quick just to share it with you guys. So at the moment, I have like some of my numbers written down, but I'm not going to obviously share that with you guys, but you could have like, your weight, your body fat. So all of this is important to me right now, especially as I'm working with a trainer. So BMI and all that type of stuff, right? But physically, like I said, my main goal here is going to be that test in May, right? So the May test. And so now these are things that I want to be able to achieve until May. So that kind of gives me like about 5 months, just over or just under 2 quarters. Now, so if I break that down into quarters, so by January, between January to March, Jan to March, I need to be able to drop about 10 pounds, which isn't bad at all, and 5% body fat, which also isn't bad at all, right? So now that drops down into, so this is what I need. These are the numbers I need to achieve. So what's going to get me there? Obviously the diet, the workouts. So currently I have about 2 workouts, but I need to ramp up my second workout. So that's the physical aspect. So in order for me to do that, drop 10 pounds and 5% body fat, what are some of the things that I need to do, right? So you could write down about 3 things that you need to be able to do every single day. So one of them is going to be obviously 1 gallon of water intake. That's a non-negotiable. That is something that I have to complete no matter what. And then also, now this is obviously the first day of me getting to my lean phase after 2 months of like working out, having normal carb day, low carb day, switching between the two, and finally hitting that strength number that I wanted to hit, being able to lift a certain amount and do a certain amount of exercise reps, sets, and all that type of stuff. So the second thing is, for me personally, is going to be working out prior to my first meal, right? So that's another thing that I have written down for myself, where whether it's protein shake or whatever it is, the first thing that I need to be able to do is drink about, let's say, a quarter of a gallon of water. So in the first couple of hours, because I wake up around like 3:30, 4 o'clock when we're doing the simulation sessions, live trading, and all that type of stuff. So I give myself from then until 6 o'clock is when I'm done. So those couple of hours, I have enough time to drink water and all that type of stuff. Maybe do like a quick little workout, which is like a yoga or something. But my actual workout is going to be the strength training, right? And then my 3, 4, whatever goals that you guys want to write down. So all of that. So pretty much at this point, it's just like a checklist kind of a thing. How your trading plan is when you write down your strategies or whatever it is, how all of that is just a check mark. That's exactly what this is for me. Did I have a gallon of water intake today? Yes, no. Right? Did I work out prior to having my first meal? Yes, no. Right? And then writing down certain numbers that I have to hit every single day in my meals. That as well, right? Protein shake and all that type of. I personally struggle with having 5 meals a day. That's not something that I'm used to, right? But 5 meals a day. So not even like actual meals, but just eating 5 times a day. So 3 meals and 2 snacks, right? I'm the type of person who probably eats like once or twice a day, right? So I need to be able to fix that. So then also putting that as a checklist, but being able to hit a certain amount of numbers. So physically, that's my goal, right? Just from January to March. I need to be able to peak. So according to like the training plan that I have, my first peak is supposed to be in March. And then we kind of deload a little bit for April, deload a little bit, and then still working up my strength, still working up my endurance. And then my second peak is going to be in May, which is the actual test, right? So in order for me to peak in March, what are some things I need to do in January and February?
Now, from January to March, would asking for 15 be too much?
15 what?
Pounds.
No,
No,
because the thing is that the most important part, you could work out all you want, but if you eat like, Taco Bell, if you eat McDonald's, if you eat like all this type of stuff, you're not dropping pounds. You might drop a couple, but you're not dropping 15 pounds, right? Or you're not hitting like 5% body fat or any of that type of stuff.
Do you get what I was doing now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's not hard at all. But again, you could honestly achieve obviously you can't drop 100 pounds in 3 months.
Right?
But you want to be very realistic with yourself, right? So now if I were to apply the same exact thing to, let's say, the financial aspect, so what is my current financial numbers, or how am I feeling financially and all that type of stuff, right? And then what are my goals by the end of the year? Drop that down into 3 months, quarterly goals. If I have a goal of making, let's say the example I gave was like save 5K in emergency funds, right? So now if I want to be able to save 5K in emergency funds by 2022, and that's a very small amount, right? But obviously you're going to increase that the next year and the following year and all that type of stuff. But in order for me to save 5K by the end of the year, now how do you break that down into, let's say, 4 quarters, right? And then break that down into 4 weeks, right? And then break that down into every single week, how much do I need to save? So you don't even have to do it daily. Sometimes you will save money, sometimes you won't, right? But every single week I need to be able to save, let's say, a minimum of $30, $40, whatever it is, right? And then every single month I need to be able to save, like, let's say $100, right? Or whatever it is. And then every quarter I need to be able to save $500, $1,000, whatever it is. right? So you kind of come up with those numbers. This is just an example. So that's kind of how I break it down on my quarterly goal. So I have physical, I have my business, so every single business, Sharmafx, Sharmafx, the other startup that I'm working on, every single business, what are some things I need to work on? I need to be able to put out, for example, for Sharmafx, I have 12 basis of Forex videos that I need to be able to put out this quarter, right? So that just means in a quarter, in 1 month, there's 4 weeks, right? So every single week I need to be able to put out one video. So then I ask you guys like, okay, what are some things that you guys are struggling with? What do you need help with? And then I make a video on that and then put it out there, right? But that's me holding myself accountable. Now I can make that video on a Sunday and release it on a Wednesday or Thursday, it doesn't matter. But the fact that I'm already doing this and then getting it ready to be released, right? So that's one thing. So take the same exact thing and implement it in every other aspect of your life, right? So answer these questions for yourself and really think about this. Be brutally honest. I didn't have to share like, drop 10 pounds because nobody really knows my weight, right? All you guys see is like the top half. You don't know, how each of us look like. So it's really up to you. No one else is going to see this, right? Be brutally honest with yourself. There's no way, there's no reason for you to, if you're not even saying 5K a year, there's no reason for you to say like, I'm going to save 100K this year. And you're only making like, let's say 40K a year, right? Obviously that's not going to happen. Yeah. So now you think about like, okay, well then how do I make this happen? Right? That's the whole mindset switch for yourself. Even for books, for like my personal growth, I need to read more self-growth books, more personal development books. So I came back and I'm revisiting one of my favorite books, which is The Think and Grow Rich. So these are the way that we would break this down. Honestly, you have all the step-by-steps. We're giving you guys examples of exactly how to do this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. But I do encourage you guys to comment below, about 3 things from these 7 questions that you have here.
I think it's so important that you just be brutally honest, like Sharma said. Like there's no hiding this. Like just keep it to yourself, right? And just be brutally honest. Answer these questions the way you know you should be, and pay attention to it. Don't like step over any kind of steps or anything like that. You won't get as much from it. Just put everything into this. This is your life. This is your year. And if you really want to change things around, this is all it takes.
Yeah. And write these things down. I know a lot of you guys are going to watch this video, or even, some of you guys may even just hop off in the first couple of minutes, like Stefano said. But if you're watching through this entire video, write this thing down, because when you see it every single day, when you're actually journaling and you're writing down like, okay, like did I actually accomplish these things every day, every week, every month, every quarter, whatever it is, it's going to make a huge difference. There's no way you're going to answer all these 7 questions and keep it in your mind, exact answer for the rest of the year. It's not going to happen. I hope you guys have a great 2022 and you guys have great goals that you're able to accomplish this year. I know everyone starts off very, very optimistic, but just remember why you started this entire change that you're doing and why you're going to continue this. So make sure you attach your why to every single thing, every single question here. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us, whether it's trading or anything else. And we're more than happy to hop onto Zooms and help you guys out.
Yep. Yeah, guys, it's, think about it. It's all fun right now, right? New Year's resolutions, going over this stuff, getting ready for the year. We're all having fun. Just get ready for adversity, because it's going to hit. It's inevitable. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be things that you're going to be tempted with, the things you want to kick out of your life and get rid of your life. You're going to be tempted by those things, whether they're addictions or alcohol, whatever it is. It's going to be very easy for you to start going that path once you start getting around people that you're normally hanging out with, it maybe you should be stepping away from for the next year, at least, to get yourself on the right track. There's gonna be adversity no matter what, so just embrace it, know that it's coming, and just make sure that it's gonna make you much stronger. It's gonna callous over a lot of the weakness that you have. Embrace that adversity. It's the best part. It's gonna make you stronger, and eventually you should start getting to the point where you can't wait for it to happen. It's like, is this it? Is this all I got? All right. Let's go. I got this easily. So keep that mindset the whole year. And if you have to rewatch this, rewatch it.
Yeah, you're going to thank yourself later on. Trust me. I thank myself for starting whatever I did years ago. Yeah. Right. So you're going to thank yourself no matter where you are in your life, whether in your 50s, 60s, early 20s, maybe even like you just turned 18, you're trying to figure out what to do. You're going to start whatever your goals are, start them now. regardless of, whatever comes your way. The people who make it through life are the ones who push through those challenges.
Oh yeah.
Right? If you just let every challenge get to you, you're not going to achieve your goals. So do something so then 5 or 10 years from now, whoever you are, Bob 10 years from now thanks himself for whatever he started.
Absolutely.